Hello and welcome. Tonight, former governors from 1999 urged President Bola Tinubu to prioritize job creation industries over continued palliatives during a courtesy visit. Federal Character Commission underscores major overhaul aimed at correcting imbalance in federal recruitment, boosting transparency and operational efficiency. EU envoy also urges increased support for Nigeria to tackle severe child malnutrition in the northeast and northwest regions. UK, France and Germany demand Israel immediately lift aid restrictions to Gaza, warning of worsening humanitarian conditions.
On business news tonight, intermittent blackout looms in Lagos as Transmission Company of Nigeria plans 25-day electricity supply maintenance operation.
On sports news tonight, Nigeria's Super Falcons vow to avenge 2022 semi-final defeat against host nation Morocco in Saturday's Women's Cup of Nations final in Rabat.
And from the nation's capital, Minister of Finance Wale Edun inaugurates new board of the NDIC, says government is working towards maintaining both fiscal and monetary stability.
Tonight, we begin with an advice to the president. Build industries that can create employment instead of giving palliatives. And those words are coming from former state governors who served in 1999 when they paid a courtesy visit to President Bola Tinubu at the State House in Abuja. Speaking on behalf of the group, the former governor of Edo State, Lucky Binedion, said this was part of the advocacy. He also spoke about the security situation in Nigeria and the need to address the needs of the people in the rural areas who are feeling the impact of the harsh economy.
We came to see one of our own, a class of 99, and to bring about topics about the state of the nation. We are glad that Mr. President received us warmly, and we spoke basically about the security and the situation of the nation, the economy, and of course agriculture. The president showed his concern about these various issues that we came to discuss with him. And we also prefer our own solutions about how he can go about bringing about succor to the people. The people, especially in the rural areas, are feeling the impact of the harsh economy. And he assured us that he's looking into it. We also spoke about the stability of the Naira, which he also addressed appropriately. So it has been a very fruitful deliberation with Mr. President. We employed on him to try as much as possible to create cottage industries in all the local governments of the Federation where people can be employed. Because if you give palliative to somebody today, what happens tomorrow? If he has 5,000 in the morning, how about do? 5,000 cannot buy much. So I thought these are part of the really heart-to-heart discussions we had with the President. And he agreed with us to say, yes, he's going to look into it.
The Federal Character Commission is undergoing major restructuring to tackle the perceived imbalance in recruitment and appointments across the federal service. The acting chairman of the commission, Mr. Kayode Oladele, made this known during a meeting in Abuja. According to him, the commission has the constitutional power to sanction ministries, departments and agencies that fail to comply with the Federal Character Act, especially in matters of appointments, promotions and infrastructure distribution.
We have written letters to the MDAs to submit their nominal rules. And the reason why we are doing that is to enable us carry out what we call character balancing index. And there we'll be able to know the percentage of what each state is holding in the federal agencies. I did assure you, and I assure the country, that no agency will be spared when it comes to this. We have the power to sanction, and if any agency fails to comply with the Federal Character Commissions Act, particularly as it relates to appointments, promotions, and other things, including what we do in our second mandate, which we will soon embark upon very, very aggressively to ensure that we have equal and fair distribution of amenities and infrastructure. If any agency fails to comply, we shall take appropriate legal actions. Our mission, therefore, is to give every Nigerian, regardless of state, ethnicity, or religion, a sense of belonging in the national space. This is not just a constitutional obligation, it is also a moral imperative.
The Coordinating Minister of Health and Social Welfare, Professor Muhammad Ali Pate, says that President Bola Tinubu's administration is taking decisive action to transform cancer care in the country through investments in modern treatment facilities and diagnostic capabilities. He made this remark during the commissioning of the 3 state-of-the-art cancer centers located at the Federal Teaching Hospital in Katsina, the University of Nigeria Teaching Hospital in Enugu, and the University of Benin Teaching Hospital in Edo State. According to the minister, the initiative is part of President Tinubu's National Health Sector Renewal Investment Initiative. Our correspondent Victoria Longton reports.
This is considered a landmark effort by the federal government. 3 oncology centers completed and ready for commissioning in Enugu, Katsina, and Edo states. The Minister of Health, Professor Ali Pate, is joined by the Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mr. Mohammed Idris, and the Minister of Finance, Wale Edun, at the Federal Teaching Hospital, Katsina, for the official commissioning of the first phase of the radiotherapy and oncology centers reconstructed by the federal government. Completed within the first 2 years of the Tinubu administration, the project is considered a key transformation in cancer treatment in Nigeria.
If you go outside Nigeria again from today for cancer treatment, it is because that is your choice, not because there's an option provided by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
There is no better example of delivery than what is being provided today. World-class healthcare, opportunity for Nigerians to stay in Nigeria, in fact, to reverse their path. This would be impossible without the vision of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who prioritized oncology care within the healthcare space in Nigeria.
Visibly excited, the Minister of Health, Professor Pate, who is the driver of the project, said the event symbolizes a promise kept.
The promise is delivered. His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu was deliberate in his choice of health as one sector to transform as part of his renewed hope agenda. And I think he has delivered on that. He is delivering on that. We're witnessing this unprecedented investment in the cancer centers, the diagnostic capability.
Done with speeches, it was then time for the big reveal.
Benefit of all Nigerians, and may God help us all.
The team were then led on a tour of the facility. The commissioning entourage then make a stop in Enugu State for the second project. The team moves to the University of Nigeria Teaching Hospital, Itsuku Ozala, where the oncology center is situated. The Deputy Governor of Enugu State, Mr. Ifeanyi Osai, appreciates the federal government for the center and makes a case for a more robust and affordable health insurance scheme.
Can you help us get creative once more to develop a structure that will make our healthcare insurance more robust, realistic, that they can minimally pay the cost for this facility?
The center is then commissioned and the ministers take a tour of the facility. The final destination for the entourage is Benin City, the capital of Edo State. Their destination is the University of Benin Teaching Hospital, Uselu.
We see a lot of patients.
Before the commissioning, the hospital management is optimistic that the center will address the death rate from cancer.
For 10 years, the only radiation machine that we had was down. And we have worked very hard to resuscitate it, and that has not been feasible till today. Today's event marks a milestone. It's going to bring succor, not just to the indigenes of Edo State.
The center is then commissioned and the ministers inspect the facility. These centers are expected to serve 2,000 oncology patients and train over 500 clinicians over the next 3 years. 3 more oncology centers are expected to be completed by the Tinubu administration. From Abuja, Victoria Longchon, Channels Television News.
In accordance with the EU's mission to foster sustainable infrastructure projects worldwide, especially in digital, energy and other sectors, through the Global Gateway Strategy Initiative, the European Union Ambassador to Nigeria and ECOWAS, Gautier Manon, has emphasized the need for collaboration and improvement in Nigeria's trade and investment. Breakfast program, The Morning Brief, says the EU is making efforts to bring in more companies into Nigeria and is committed to helping young entrepreneurs upskill their businesses through digital transformation and trainings.
We are putting into place is to have a structured dialogue where we can address issues, barriers, but also joint initiatives to try to foster our relationships in trade and investment. Again, we are trying also to bring more EU companies and articulate their investments with all cooperation offer. And this is what the Global Gateway Strategy is about. On various dimensions, on skills, for instance, we are supporting the 3 Million Technical Talents Initiative, on digital public infrastructure, also with models inspiring in some of our EU member states like Finland or Estonia. And one of the biggest projects is to support the rollout of 90,000 kilometers of optic fiber so that all of Nigeria is connected, and not only the most profitable areas, you know, for private operators. So this is one of our flagship projects under the Global Gateway Strategy, and we see a great potential. We are also helping through digital transformation centers, young entrepreneurs to acquire skills and also develop their business, their startup, and we do this all over Nigeria.
In part 2, after the break, 27 people killed in Binde village in Riyom, local government area of Plateau State last week are laid to rest in a mass burial. Please join us again. Welcome back. If you've just joined us, you're watching the news at 10 on Channels Television, broadcasting live from Lagos. A reminder of our main stories. Former governors of 1999 urge President Bola Tinubu to prioritize job-creating industries over continued palliatives during a courtesy visit. Federal Character Commission undergoes major overhaul aimed at correcting imbalance in federal recruitment, boosting transparency and operational efficiency. AU envoy urges increased support for Nigeria to tackle severe child malnutrition in Northeast and Northwest. UK, France and Germany demand Israel's immediate lift of aid restrictions to Gaza, warning of worsening humanitarian conditions. The federal government has assured Nigerians living in the diaspora of its renewed support to ensure they continue to thrive and contribute significantly to the prosperity of their homeland. President Bola Tinubu, who was represented by the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Mr. George Akume, at the National Diaspora Day celebrations, reiterated that Nigerians in the diaspora are imperative to the renewed hope agenda of the current administration. Our correspondent, Dele Omoyeni, reports.
The National Diaspora Day celebration is a day set aside to celebrate the potentials and the giant strides of Nigerians living outside the country. The event also features the National Diaspora Merit Awards to encourage outstanding diasporans, and the federal government is pledging to do more.
Our diaspora home remittances through official channels stood at $20.9 billion, which is over 4 times the value of our foreign direct investment. The Nigerians in the diaspora are also actively investing in our healthcare, agriculture, education, information, communication technology, ICT.
The chief host of the event and chairman of the Nigerians in Diaspora Commission, Mrs. Abike Dabiri Erewa, is joined by several dignitaries to applaud Nigerians in diaspora and encourage them to do more for the country.
We acknowledge our diaspora. You know, you are all known for your hard work, resilience, and patriotism. And you, the diaspora, are highly productive. We've heard that all the time. You are barrier breakers and pace setters in your different fields of endeavors. It therefore behoves on all of us to celebrate our very best, not minding that we do have a few bad eggs, but it's okay. One bad apple will not spoil the whole bunch.
We understood that there were certain inhibitors of growth, and this particular government has done one thing. And what is that thing? To remove all the bottlenecks of growth.
To fully unlock this potential, we must establish robust diaspora engagement platforms, provide incentive for diaspora investments, and cultivate a business-friendly environment.
This is what strategic diaspora engagement can look like: connection, collaboration, and elevation. Today, we see a similar opportunity at scale to create platform where the Nigerians diaspora become integral part of nation building.
This year's theme is optimizing formidable diaspora potentials for national development and growth, and it is hoped that this platform will achieve that purpose.
And there you have it, the unveiling of the diaspora.
Dele Omoyeni, Channels Television News.
It's a new chapter for Africa's tourism and aviation sectors as the second edition of the UN Tourism and International Civil Aviation Organization Ministerial Conference on Tourism and Air Transport in Africa ends in Angola, with a bold call for greater integration, stronger partnerships, and united action among African nations. Ministers and global stakeholders say the future of Africa's connectivity, economic growth, and global tourism standing lies in how well the continent can collaborate across borders and beyond barriers. Our senior correspondent, Kingsley Uranta, who was at the conference, now reports.
For 3 solid days, they dug into their business, creative, and professional experience to hammer out solutions to the missing link between tourism and air transportation in Africa.
The innovation is like chicken and egg. No, if you don't have planes, you don't have tourists. If you don't have tourists, you don't have planes. Demand is here. All participants mentioned that the population of Africa is growing. Economically, Africa is one of the growing continents in the world. When people are getting better, what they want first is to travel, and demand is there.
Do you think this strong contingent is taken back to Nigeria from here?
What I have seen here is strong collaboration. We can sit and talk without the synergy and the enablement, that power to wanting to get all the policies that have been put in place to actually be implemented, so that and then the use of technology. Because while we want our airspace open and all that, we need to ensure that higher security is in place, because that is one of the things I have really picked up here.
The panel discussion teased out critical views and areas that require urgent attention in advancing the sectors and building a sustainable synergy. The issues at stake required high-level participation, as exemplified by the presence of ministers of tourism and transportation in Africa and the Secretary General of the UN Tourism, Zurab Pololiskashvili, whose term ends in December this year. Although Africa recorded 74 million international arrivals in 2024, a 12% increase over 2023 and 7% more than 2019, there was an increased urgency for integrated transport tourism strategies. Elsia Grandcourt, Regional Director of Africa in the UN Tourism, captured and presented the ministerial declaration this way.
The ministers have also emphasized the need to facilitate intra-African travel, strengthen the conditions for peace and understanding between peoples through simplified visa regimes, reduced fees, fast-track procedures, and longer validity multi-entry visas.
To the delegates, a few backslaps and good handshakes signified a fulfilling outcome of the conference.
We've achieved the objectives, but as has been said here, now we need to really apply ourselves and get to work.
There are a strong political will, even if we don't have, as a ministers of tourism, a lot of money to implement it, but we have a strong will and we have a strong connection and commitment within the ministries of tourism to definitely change the face of tourism in Africa.
In essence, the conference solidified our shared vision, leveraging tourism and air transport as twin engines of inclusive, sustainable growth in Africa. Angola as a host has positioned itself as key future player, energized by major national investments and partnerships with the UN Tourism and International Civil Aviation Organization. Kingsley Uranta, Channels Television News.
Normalcy is gradually returning to Lamorde local government area of Adamawa State following the recent crisis between the Bachama and Chobo communities, which resulted in the loss of lives and property. The governor of Adamawa State, Umar Fintiri, who visited the affected areas for an on-the-spot assessment, has now appealed to warring parties to sheath their swords and embrace peace.
In a determined push for peace, Governor Amadou Umar Fintiri, accompanied by his deputy, who is a native of the region, arrives with members of the State Executive Council and top security officials. Their mission is urgent: to end the violent clashes between the neighboring Waduko and Chobo communities, whose dispute over farmland has spiraled into deadly confrontations, claiming lives, torching homes, and leaving families without food or shelter. The first stop is Waduko. The governor tours the area, taking in the damage and hearing from residents directly affected by the violence. Next, the governor proceeds to Lakan in Chobo territory, where elders and residents gather to receive him. There, raw emotions surface. Community leaders from both sides share their versions of how the crisis began, trading blame, yet ultimately agreeing on one thing: the need to lay down arms and pursue peace.
I believe everyone knows that peace is non-negotiable. We need peace almost in every sphere of life, and we cannot do anything in the absence of peace.
This conflict is not just about farm disputes. There must be another cause which government must be aware of in order to provide lasting solution.
Governor Fintiri sympathizes with victims and urges a return to the era of peaceful coexistence, reminding all that rancor only holds back development, while warning that anyone found to have incited violence will face the full weight of the law. The governor also reassures the people of his administration's commitment to their safety and long-term welfare.
You saw what happened. You saw the amount of houses that have been burned, businesses damaged and burned. But what can we do? We won't lose hope. We're government. We will ensure we come to their aid. We will ensure we rebuild this community because they have no choice than to live together. It is God that has made it and destined that they should live together, and they are going to live together.
The visit ends in Ringaj, where charred rooftops and crumbled homes stand as a haunting reminder of what was lost. But beneath the rubble, there is resolve. Both communities now share a cautious but genuine hope that this marks the beginning of lasting peace.
Still ahead on the news at 10, intermittent blackout looms in Lagos as Transmission Company of Nigeria plans 25-day electricity supply maintenance operation. And that's in Business News. Please join us again. Welcome back. It's a sad moment for residents of Bindi village in Riyom local government area of Plateau State as they came out in their numbers to bury 27 members of their community who were killed in last week's attack on the village. On Friday, families and community members gathered in sorrow as the 27 victims were laid to rest. Speaking during the burial ceremony, the representative of the state governor, Nyam Gai, encouraged the people to stay strong as they assured them that the state government will do everything to protect them.
Indeed, today, even though a sad narration for us on the plateau, but we are assuring the people of Plateau State that this government is ever determined and will remain very firm in ensuring that your lives and properties are protected. We are assuring you that the security architecture on the plateau is being rejigged to ensure that all these dastardly acts will never find a place in the economy of our state. We want to appreciate God that he was able to save more members of the community. And this reminds us to the fact that our God is a God of remnants. The detractors, whether they kill us, I can assure you that with the resilience of the people of Riyom and all those places under the plateau that are under attack, sincerely will not be wavered. Like the governor assured Riyom local government, no inch of your land will be taken.
And on the part of the Secretary of Birom Educational and Cultural Organization, he's appealing to the government and security agencies to beef up security in the area.
Please, we thank God. Thank God for what happened. God never makes mistakes. Sometimes what God does, we wonder why it happened like that. But he knows why it happened the way it happened. You cannot change because of history. We are told there's a time to be born and a time to die. Whether you're old or you're young, when your time comes, the time for our people that lost their lives, these 27 precious lives that were lost in this community, let us just look about to God. Because even the small children who do not know anything were not spared, were brutally murdered. I pray, believing that God in his infinite mercy is just giving them a long road. I believe that within a short time, we'll be able to overcome them. We shall liberate our land. Nobody will take this land from us that God has given to us.
Our thoughts and prayers are with the family of those who lost their lives. We now continue the news at 10 as we head over to Abuja studios where Terry Ikumi is standing by. Over to you, Terry.
Well, thank you very much, Anne. The Minister of Finance, Mr. Wale Edun, has described the role of the Nigeria Deposit Insurance Corporation as critical to the attainment of the federal government's target of 7% economic growth per annum. Mr. Edun, who spoke during the inauguration of the management of the NDIC in Abuja, explains that while the government is working towards maintaining both fiscal and monetary stability, government organizations remain the key drivers of the process to achieve the $1 trillion economy by 2030.
This meeting between the new management of the Nigeria Deposit Insurance Corporation, NDIC, and the Ministers of Finance is considered critical to fostering a new partnership for economic growth. Recently, President Bola Tinubu appointed a new management for the corporation, naming Mr. Thompson Sunday as the managing director, Mr. Kabir Kakata as the Executive Director Operations, and Mrs. Emily Osuji as the Executive Director Corporate Services.
Of NDIC.
The charge from the ministers is for the new appointees to brace up.
The economy is growing, but we need to double that growth to about 7% per annum. It is at that level, and that extra growth relative to where the population is growing, it is that extra growth rate that will yield millions and millions of Nigerians being lifted out of poverty, which is the goal, the aim, and the strategy of Mr. President. NDIC has a critical role to play here, not least its deposit guarantee role.
The corporation is empowered by law in Nigeria to act as a liquidator of closed insured financial institutions. The discharge of that mandate involves the orderly and efficient payment system, prompt payment of insured sums, cost-effective realization of assets, and settlement of claims of depositors, renters, and shareholders.
After the meeting, the managing director speaks on what Nigerians should expect from the team.
Recently, we improved the insured deposit limit to 5 million for deposit money banks and 2 million for microfinance banks and payment service banks. What we intend to do is still look at the system, developments in the system, and see if it is necessary to enhance those, and also perform in other areas of our responsibility, including bank regulation and supervision, in collaboration with the CBN, including the resolution of failed institutions in an orderly manner.
The primary objective of the corporation is to provide safety net for depositors in the event of a bank failure. The NDIC also has the responsibility of providing financial and technical assistance to insured institutions to enhance their safety and soundness of the nation's financial system. Sarah Chimugu, Channels Television News.
Now, in an effort to rejuvenate Cross River State economy, the Cross River State Governor Basiotu has rolled out a fresh lifeline for retired public servants, disbursing a 250 million naira grant to support 500 retirees in starting their own businesses in Southern Senatorial District of the state. Speaking during the flag-off ceremony in Calabar, the Cross River State capital, the governor, who was represented by his deputy, Peter Ode, explained that the grant is a way of giving back to senior citizens who dedicated their best years to the service of the state, as well as keep them active and productive. The governor encouraged them to use the grant judiciously to enable them cater for their immediate needs, with promise to replicate same gesture across all the senatorial districts. And that's all from the nation's capital. Back to Anne in Lagos.
Thank you, Terry. In a continued effort to reward loyal customers, Verve, Africa's premier domestic payment card brand, has now launched the 6th edition of its exciting Good Life promo, running through October 2025. This year's edition brings even more value, offering Verve cardholders an exclusive 10% discount at a wider range of select outlets across Nigeria. But what sets this edition apart? According to Divisional Head, Growth Marketing, Tokens and Inclusion, InterSwitch, Chidi Olwoha, Verve has significantly expanded its network of partner merchants, giving customers more places than ever to enjoy the benefits of the promo, whether they're dining out, shopping, or even paying for services. Their Verve cards is now their ticket to bigger savings and a better lifestyle.
Access the promo even outside the shop.
Africa's foremost domestic payments card brand, Verve, has launched the 6th edition of its popular Good Life promo, rewarding customers with 10% discounts in purchases at selected outlets across Nigeria. The promo runs until the end of October 2025.
Okay, so
Good Life Promo 6.0 is all about helping Nigerians make smarter, more affordable purchases. Verve card holders can now enjoy valuable savings simply by paying with their cards at participating retailers. Discounts are available from Thursday to Sundays at top outlets including Adide, The Place, among others. For digital purchases on the Google Play Store, the offer is valid every day of the week.
Verve understands the heartbeat of consumers.
The divisional head, Growth Marketing, Tokens and Inclusion, InterSwitch, Chidi Oloha, emphasizes that Verve's focus goes beyond payment solutions.
So the Verve Good Life promo, as the name suggests, is an initiative to enrich the lives of Nigerians. As people go out there to transact with their Verve cards and they get 10% either cashback or discounts, you can imagine, what that will do for consumers, the joy, the excitement that it will bring to our consumers, and that's our joy.
Also speaking on the initiative, Divisional Head, Growth, Marketing, Merchants and Ecosystem at InterSwitch, Olawale Akombi, shares insights on the value this promo gives to both partners and customers.
One of the feedback that we got from our customers is that it is a life-saving, right? Because we all know what the economy is looking like these days. So every penny that you can get, every discount that you can get makes a lot of difference to people.
With over 70 million Verve cards issued across Africa and beyond, Verve International, a proudly Nigerian Pan-African payment brand, continues to revolutionize financial access and digital commerce. From powering secure transactions to offering real-world benefits, Verve remains committed to making life more rewarding for its users at home and across the continent.
Well, it's not exciting news for Lagosians. Let's hear more from Dominic Iwiu, who's ready to take us through the world of business.
Thank you, Anne. Welcome to Business News. And intermittent blackouts may soon hit many parts of Lagos State as the transmission company of Nigeria, TCN, plans to carry out a 25-day maintenance operation. According to a notice posted by Eco Electricity Distribution Company today on its X account, the planned maintenance operation would commence from July the 28th till August the 21st, between 8 a.m. and 5 p.m. daily. The planned power disruption adds to the ongoing concerns about electricity supply reliability in Nigeria's commercial capital, where businesses and households often rely on backup generators due to the erratic nature of the power grid. And still with power supply issues, President Bola Tinubu today hosted a high-level meeting with the chairman of Nigeria's power generation companies to address the total 4 trillion naira debt crisis threatening the country's electricity supply chain. During the emergency meeting held with members of GENCOs led by Colonel Sani Bello, retired, at the State House in Abuja, President Tinubu appealed to them to give the federal government more time to complete the verification and validation of long-standing debts. The special advisor to the president on energy, Olu Verenjaini, also disclosed that a 4 trillion naira bond program has received anticipatory approval from President Tinubu to address the liquidity shortfall in the sector. Now, the Securities and Exchange Commission SEC says it is exploring policies to support quantum innovations like tokenized assets, digital securities, and green bonds. The Director General of SEC, who made this known to newsmen, mentioned that Nigeria has the potential and resources to emerge as a leader in the new quantum economy. He explained that the emergence of groundbreaking innovations such as quantum computing, artificial intelligence, and blockchain presents both opportunities for Nigeria and Africa, and adds that there must be regulatory agility, investment in human capital, as well as public-private partnerships to harness these opportunities. And back home to the domestic stock market, which ends the week not with another milestone. which has dominated the most of July. Lady Williams tells us more.
Well, the TGIF trade didn't disappoint today. Continues in the green. It's almost starting to get boring, at this point. We're always in the green. I'm sure some of the bulls will be telling me now, Laddie, you better watch your mouth. Well, it's 0.94%, 134,452 points. That's for the all-share index, 85 trillion for the market cap there. Let's look at the sectors that we track now. It's mostly green. For close today, with the banking counter there up 0.59%. Consumer goods, that's shining today to close 1.63% to close today. Oil and gas, 0.5% up there. Let's look at the figures there now. The tier 1 banks, you see First Holdco PLC, that's holding it down right there, 2.99% close today. It's had quite a run in July so far. Up over 30%. Started the month trading about 25 naira per share, but that's a different picture we're seeing there, over 13 naira. And the bank was in the news a lot, this month. Then we see a big drop for the share price. That's for Access Holdings, down 2.81%. So it's a mixed picture there, but the greens have it there for the tier 1 banks. So UBA up 0.97% and Zenith 1.09%. So, definitely the market breadth was quite big today. 45 stocks gained, while 22 stocks posted losses. Keeping the bulls there in charge.
And that's it on Business News. Back to Anne for the rest of the news at 10.
Thank you, Dominic. Let's now join Simon Puse with more international news and around the world in 5 from our London studio.
Good evening and welcome to the Channel's studios here in London with your international news around the world in 5. Israel says it will allow foreign countries to airdrop aid into Gaza in the coming days. Some airdrops took place last year, but aid groups warned at the time that they could not deliver aid in sufficient quantities. Gaza's Hamas-run health ministry says 9 more people have died of malnutrition in the past 24 hours, bringing the total such deaths to 122. Médecins Sans Frontières says its team are witnessing catastrophic levels of malnutrition. On Thursday, the US and Israel withdrew their negotiating teams from Gaza ceasefire talks in Qatar, with Washington accusing Hamas of not acting in good faith.
Our staff is trying to take care of their casualties without having eaten as well. So this is a really pressing scenario, and it needs to end. I think people are at the end of the rope. It's hard to continue to go on day after day. I don't know how they've done it up to this point, and they don't know how they've done it up to this point, but somehow they do. But at some point it has to stop. This is a cruelty being inflicted on them.
Thailand's leader has warned that clashes between Thailand and Cambodia, which have killed at least 16 people and displaced tens of thousands in both countries, could move towards war. The acting Prime Minister added that the fighting now included heavy weapons and had spread to 12 locations along the border. Thailand also accused Cambodia of firing into civilian areas and evacuated all villages deemed to be within the radius of its rockets. Cambodia, for its part, accused Thailand of using cluster munitions, which are banned in much of the world because of their indiscriminate effect on civilian populations. Thailand has not responded to the allegations. The Philippine Supreme Court has blocked an impeachment trial against Sara Duterte, marking a victory for the country's vice president. The lower house of the Philippine Parliament had voted to impeach Duterte in February after she was accused of misusing public funds and threatening to kill President Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Jr. The ruling means she has been granted a reprieve from possible ousting, at least until February 2026. A New South Wales politician has been found guilty of sexually assaulting 2 young men in Australia. A jury found Gareth Ward, who is still a sitting member of State Parliament, guilty of 3 counts of indecent sexual assault and 1 count of rape. Both of the victims said they were assaulted at Ward's home after meeting the 44-year-old through political circles between 2013 and 2015. The treason trial of the former president of the Democratic Republic of Congo, Joseph Kabila, has begun in a military court in the capital Kinshasa. He also faces other charges, including murder and rape, linked to his alleged support for M23 rebels, who control a large part of the mineral-rich east of the country. Kabila's successor, President Felix Tshisekedi, has accused him of being the brains behind the rebels. The ex-president has rejected the case as arbitrary and said the courts were being used as an instrument of oppression. People in Yunnan province in China have captured the moment a landslide was triggered by heavy rainfall. Onlookers watched as debris and foliage flowed down the side of a mountain, and people can be heard telling others to stand back. There were no reports of injuries, with local authorities reporting temporary disruption to power and traffic. And Japanese police and local hunters in Nikko in Tochigi Prefecture have practiced their response to a potential bear attack in a simulated drill. The demonstration saw a man dressed as a bear chased off by firecrackers and showed participants how to safely approach an animal after it has been shot or tranquilized. Tochigi has seen 3 bear attacks so far this year. And that's your international news around the world in 5. Now back to the channel's studios in Lagos.
Many thanks indeed, Simon, and welcome to Sports News. Coach Justin Madugu says the Super Falcons of Nigeria have not come this far, the 13th Women's Cup of Nations, to think of anything but reclaiming the trophy. They have won a total of 9 times out of the previous 12 tournaments. On Saturday night, and that's tomorrow at the 21,000 capacity Olympic Stadium in Rabat, the Super Falcons on Mission X will take on Morocco, who denied them the 10th title at the semi-final stage in 2022.
I pray that the omen of not losing any final continues tomorrow also. However, we know all the scenarios are always different. The scenarios have never been the same. It's a new scenario, and we are playing against a top team. We quite know what they can also do. We also are aware of the caliber of coach that they also have that has gotten them to where they are today. But like I said, we believe in ourselves, we believe in our players, we trust what we are doing, and we'll stick to our game plan to ensure that we emerge victorious tomorrow.
Well, let's stay with the competition, as just a moment ago, Ghana has now claimed the 3rd place spot at the tournament a moment ago, defeating South Africa 4-3 on penalties in a thrilling encounter. The keenly contested match saw both teams battling to a 1-1 draw in regulation time, ultimately forcing the game into a tense shootout. The victory marks a strong finish for the Black Queens of Ghana as they secured the bronze medal in the tournament. And the Nigeria Football Federation has approved the appointments of coaches for the national under-17 men's team, the Golden Eaglets, and the under-20 women's team, the Falconets. Coach Manu Garba, who is not new to the team, makes a return to the Golden Eaglets for the 4th time. Meanwhile, former Bayelsa Queen's son, Edo Queen's head coach, Moses Aduku, takes over from coach Christopher Danjuma as Falconets coach. Both coaches are to be officially unveiled this Sunday. And that's sports. I'm Kelly Egiga. It's back to Anne.
Thank you, Kelly. And the main news again. Former governors from 1999 have asked President Bola Tinubu to prioritize job-creating industries over continued palliatives during a courtesy visit. That's the news at 10 tonight. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Anne Nwawado. Have a restful weekend. Good night.